Have you ever felt surrounded by people and still somehow completely alone? Like you can laugh in a group, hold conversations, respond at the right moments, and yet deep down feel like no one truly understands how your mind works? If you've ever experienced that quiet kind of loneliness, the kind that shows up even in crowded rooms, you might have wondered if something is wrong with you. But what if that feeling isn't a flaw? What if it's actually connected to the way your brain processes the world? Psychology suggests that highly intelligent people often experience loneliness more intensely, not because they dislike others, and not because they think they're superior, but because they naturally think differently. Intelligent minds tend to process information at a deeper level. While many conversations stay focused on everyday topics, a highly analytical person automatically starts exploring layers beneath the surface. They don't just hear what someone says, they analyze tone, intention, inconsistencies, and emotional signals. Their brain asks questions like, why did they react that way? What does this behavior reveal? What pattern is forming here? This constant deeper processing can create a subtle disconnect. It's not about being smarter in a visible way. It's about experiencing conversations, emotions, and situations with extra depth. And when you crave meaningful discussions but often find yourself surrounded by small talk, loneliness can slowly grow. Another reason intelligent people may feel lonely is that they are usually comfortable being alone. Solitude doesn't feel empty to them, it feels productive. When they are alone, their minds are active. They reflect, imagine, analyze, create, and plan. Being alone becomes a space for clarity. However, the more someone becomes comfortable in solitude, the less they rely on constant social interaction for validation. In today's world, where social energy is often measured by how busy or connected you appear, choosing quiet time can make someone stand out. Others may assume they are distant or detached, when in reality, they are simply recharging in a way that suits their mind. There's also the factor of overthinking. Intelligent individuals often replay conversations in their heads. They consider alternative outcomes. They imagine what they could have said differently. This isn't always anxiety, sometimes it's cognitive simulation. Their brain is testing scenarios, learning from them, and preparing for future interactions. But this habit can create emotional distance. When you are constantly analyzing, it becomes harder to just exist in the moment. You may start noticing patterns in people's behavior that others ignore. You may detect insincerity, hidden motives, or emotional immaturity more quickly. And once you see those things, it becomes difficult to unsee them. That awareness can protect you, but it can also make you feel separate. High intelligence is also often linked to higher standards in relationships. Not necessarily unrealistic standards, but deeper ones. Intelligent people tend to value authenticity, growth, emotional maturity, and intellectual stimulation. They would rather have one deep conversation that lasts hours than 10 shallow interactions that mean nothing. Because of that, their social circle may be smaller. They are selective, not because they are cold, but because meaningful connection matters more to them than popularity. In a society that celebrates being constantly surrounded by friends, having a small circle can sometimes feel like isolation, even when it's intentional. It's important to understand that loneliness in intelligent individuals doesn't always come from a lack of people. It often comes from a lack of resonance. They may be physically present in groups, but mentally operating on a slightly different wavelength. And when you rarely meet someone who matches your depth, curiosity, or emotional awareness, it can create the feeling that you're out of sync with the world around you. But being out of sync doesn't mean being broken. Sometimes it simply means you're wired differently. History shows that many creative thinkers, innovators, writers, and deep philosophers experienced periods of isolation, not because they failed socially, but because their ideas and perceptions were ahead of their environment. Loneliness, in that sense, can sometimes be a byproduct of introspection and high awareness. It's not a permanent state, and it's not a life sentence. Often, it's a phase that continues until you find people who appreciate depth the same way you do. So if you've ever felt lonely because you think too much, feel too deeply, or crave conversations that go beyond the surface, there may be nothing wrong with you at all. You might simply have a mind that processes life in layers instead of snapshots. And while that can sometimes feel isolating, it is also a powerful strength. The key is not to shrink your depth to fit into shallow spaces, but to patiently search for environments and people where your depth is valued.